You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Monday, May the 11th, 2020. The Cleveland Indians lost to the Baltimore Orioles. Final score of this game was 4-2. The Indians had the lead, scored their second run in the 8th inning, but then the Orioles sprung for a 4-run bottom of the 8th inning and ultimately won it. Michael Rucker got the win, Nick Whitgren got the loss, and Michael Givens now has 13 saves on the season. The New York Yankees lost to the Tampa Bay Rays. Final score of this game was 5-2. The Yankees scored on a home run in the 5th inning, took the lead, but then the Rays snatched up the lead right back. Had a 2-run home run by Kevin Kiermaier that gave them the lead, and they did not relinquish it after that. Blake Snell now 3-1 on the season. Garrett Cole got the loss. He's 2-2, and Jose Alvarado got his second save of the season. AL Central baseball here between the Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers. Final score of this game was 6-3. It took 10 innings to complete. The Twins were clawing away. They scored a run in the first inning, didn't score after that. The Tigers put up 3 in the 4th, but then the Twins chipped away, got a run in the 7th, got a run in the 8th to tie it. Nobody scored in the 9th, but then the Twins scored 3 in the 10th to win it. The Twins got 6 runs on 14 hits. The Tigers got 3 runs on 4 hits and committed an error as a team. Corey Guerin got the win, David McKay got the loss, and Taylor Rogers now has 11 saves on the season. The Kansas City Royals played the Houston Astros. Final score of this game was 7-5, and this game took 10 innings to complete, but the Royals came out with the victory. Ian Kennedy got the win, Chris Davinsky got the loss, and McCarthy got his first save of the season. The Toronto Blue Jays beat the Texas Rangers. Final score of this game was 12-2. The teams were close in hits, 14 for the Blue Jays, 10 for the Rangers, but the Blue Jays scored 10 more runs than the Rangers did, most notably in the late innings, 6 runs in the 8th and 4 runs in the 9th. Justin Miller got the win, and Cody Allen got the loss. Interleague play here between the Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels got 8 hits, scored no runs. The Nationals got 15 hits and scored 9 runs. Got a couple 2 spots in the 1st and 2nd innings, scored 3 in the 4th, and they shut out the Angels. Joe Ross got the win, Tyler Glasnow got the loss, and Ronis Elias now with 1 save on the season. NL Central baseball here between the Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. Final score of this game was 6-4. Each team had 10 hits, but the Cubs scored 2 more runs than the Brewers did. Dan Winkler got the win, Ray Black got the loss, and Craig Kimbrell now has 13 saves on the season. The Miami Marlins blanked the Cincinnati Reds. Final score of this game was 5-0. Sandy Alcantara got the win, and Cody Reed got the loss. NL Central baseball between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Final score of this game was 5-3, and the Cardinals won it. The Pirates tried to make a comeback in the bottom of the 9th inning, scored all 3 of their runs in the bottom of the 9th, but could not come out with the win. Dakota Hudson got the win, Derek Holland got the loss, and Giovanni Gallegos picked up his 16th save of the season. The Chicago White Sox played the San Diego Padres in this interleague game, and the White Sox came out in front and won 7-2. The White Sox took the lead early. The Padres got their only 2 runs in the 8th inning, and the Padres continue to be on a losing streak. You'll see how big that losing streak is when we get to the standings portion of this video. NL West baseball here between the Colorado Rockies and the San Francisco Giants. Final score of this game was 11-4. The Rockies won it, and they put up some insurance in the 7th inning. They scored 7 runs in the 7th inning, and they won it. The Rockies got 11 runs on 12 hits. The Giants got 4 runs on 5 hits. Jumbo Diaz got the win, and Sean Anderson got the loss. The New York Mets lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Final score of this game was 2-1. The 2 starters on the mound, it was Jacob deGrom for the Mets and Madison Bumgarner for the Diamondbacks, and the result of this game shows what a pitcher's duel this was. Each team could only score a maximum of 1 run in any inning that they scored. The Mets scored first in the 2nd, but then the Diamondbacks scored in the 6th to tie it and walked it off in the bottom of the 9th. Kevin Ginkel got the win, and Brad Brach got the loss. He's now 1-5 on the season. We'll look at standings now, starting with the American League East. The New York Yankees are 24-17. They lead this division still, but they're on a 4-game losing streak. They got swept by the Red Sox over the weekend and lost game 1 of the 4-game series they're playing in to the Rays. The Rays are now in second place, 23-20. They're 2 games back of the division on a 3-game winning streak. The Baltimore Orioles won today. They're 22-19. They are also 2 games back of this division. The Blue Jays are 19-22. They're 5 games back of the division. And the Red Sox are 19-23. They're in the middle of a 5-game winning streak. They're 5.5 games back of the division, and this division getting tighter now that the Red Sox have been on a hot streak recently. They've won 8 of their last 10 ball games. In the AL Central, the Chicago White Sox are 28-13. They're on a 6-game winning streak in the middle of some interleague series as well. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They still lead this division. The Minnesota Twins are 26-15. They're 2 games back of the division. They're on a 7-game winning streak. They've won 9 of their last 10. The Cleveland Indians lost today. They're 25-19, 4.5 games back of the division. The Detroit Tigers in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. They're 14-27, 14 games back of the division. And the Kansas City Royals are 11-30. They were able to win today, but they're still 17 games back of the division. In the American League West, the Oakland Athletics still lead this division. They are 25-17 in the middle of a 4-game winning streak. The Astros lost today. The Athletics did not play today, but with the Astros losing and the Athletics not playing, the Astros moved back a half a game for the league lead. They're now 1 game back with a 24-18 record. The Los Angeles Angels are 18-22, 6 games back of the division. The Texas Rangers are 17-24, 7.5 games back of the division. And the Seattle Mariners are 17-26. They're 8.5 games back of the division. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals still lead this division. 25-15 is their record. The Philadelphia Phillies are 22-18. They're in the middle of a 4-game winning streak. They're 3 games back of the division. The Miami Marlins are 22-20. They're 4 games back of the division after winning today. The Atlanta Braves are 21-21. They're 5 games back of the division. They're on a 3-game winning streak. And the Mets lost today to the Diamondbacks. They're 17-24, 8.5 games back of the division. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals have taken definitive placement of first. They're 22-20 after winning today. The Brewers are on a 5-game losing streak now. They're 21-21. They're 1 game back of the division. Now tied with the Cubs, who are on a 2-game winning streak. The Cubs are 21-21 as well, and also a game back of the Cardinals. The Reds are 3.5 games back. They're 18-23, though they lost today. And the Pittsburgh Pirates are 14-26, 7 games back of the division on a 6-game losing streak, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. In the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers creating separation. Now they're 27-12 on a 6-game winning streak. The Padres are 23-18. They're on a 7-game losing streak after losing to the White Sox today. And a team that once led this division in April is now 5 games back in the middle of May. The Arizona Diamondbacks are getting hot. They're on a 6-game winning streak. They're 22-19, now 6 games back in the division. The San Francisco Giants are on some kind of losing streak, matching the height of which the Royals were once back in April when they lost upwards of 13 games straight. But the Giants are on a 10-game losing streak now. They're 17-24, 11 games back in the division. And the Rockies won today. They're 15-25, 12.5 games back of the Dodgers. And it's time to take a look at league leaders, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera, 382 batting average. That's good for the league best. Chris Davis behind him, former leader in this category, now has a 379 batting average and is second best in the league. Michael Brantley has a 368 batting average, and he rounds out the top 3 in the American League. In the National League, David Dahl takes first place. 361 batting average is his. Trailed by Adam Eaton of the Nationals, second best, and Ronald Acuna Jr. no longer leading this category. He's third best with a 349 batting average. Hits leaders in the American League. Jose Abreu, 63 hits. That leads the American League. Miguel Andujar and Chris Davis tied for second best with 61. And the only other player with 60 or more is Miguel Cabrera. He's fourth best with 60. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 60 hits. That's good for the league best. Paul Goldschmidt, second best with 53. And Ronald Acuna Jr., third best with 52. At bat leaders in the American League, Jose Abreu has 175 at bats. That leads the league. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 173. That's good for the National League best. Doubles leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar has 17, Anthony Rendon and Jose Iglesias tied for second best with 16, and Marcus Semien he's fourth best with 15. Doubles leaders in the National League, Jonathan Villar has 18 doubles, that's good for the league best. Trey Turner has 16 doubles, good for second best, and Christian Yelich third best with 15. American League triples leaders, Jose Altuve leads this category. He has 5 triples on the season. That's good for the league best. Oscar Mercado, Whit Merrifield, and Adalberto Mondesi all have 3. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 5, and now a couple players have 4. Chris Bryant and Trey Turner tied for second best with 4. Home run leaders in the American League, Chris Davis has 18. He still leads this category, but he's being snuck up on now by Josh Donaldson, who has 17, good for second best, and Matt Olson, third best with 15. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 15. He's trailed by 1 by Max Muncy, who has 14, and Paul Goldschmidt, third best with 13. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has 44 runs batted in. That's good for the American League best. Austin Meadows, the only other American League player with 40 or more. He has 40. That's good for second best. Chris Davis rounds out the top 3 with 39. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has 38. And now a few players reaching 30. Christian Yelich, second best with 32. Nolan Arenado and Max Muncy tied for third best with 31. And Cody Bellinger, fifth best with 30. Runs leaders in the American League, Yohan Moncada leads this category. He has 35 runs scored this season. In the National League, Trey Turner, the leader with 36. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has 9. That's good for the league best with Mike Trout, who also has 9. Then you have D. Gordon and Shin-Soo Choo tied for third best with 8. In the National League, Starling Marte ups his league-leading total to 17. Trey Turner second best with 11, and Ronald Acuna Jr. and Tim LoCastro tied for third best with 10. Walks leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman, 27. That leads the American League. Yordan Alvarez, Mike Trout, and Shin-Soo Choo tied for second best with 24. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins still leads this category. He has 33 walks. Brandon Belt second best with 28. And then Tony Walters and Ronald Acuna Jr. tied for third best with 26. On-base percentage leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera, 449 on-base percentage. That's good for the league best. Alex Bregman, second best with a 444. And Chris Davis, third best with a 441. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., 443 on-base percentage, leads all National League hitters. Andrew McCutchen, 426 on-base percentage, good for second best. And Christian Yelich, third best with a 425 on-base percentage. American League slugging percentage leaders, Chris Davis, 783. He's the only American League player with over 700, and that's good for the league best. Josh Donaldson, close to 700. He's at a 699 slugging percentage, good for second best. And Mike Trout's at 683. That's good for third best. National League slugging percentage leaders, Ronald Acuna Jr., 745. That leads the National League. Christian Yelich, the only other player over 700 in the National League. He has a 726 slugging percentage. And Paul Goldschmidt, 671. That's good for third best in the NL. On-base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders in the American League. Chris Davis, 1.224, leads the American League. Mike Trout, second best, and Josh Donaldson is third best. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., 1.188. OPS leads the National League. Christian Yelich has the second best, and Paul Goldschmidt, third best. Taking a look at pitcher statistics now, starting with wins leaders in the American League. Should be noted that Jalen Beeks is no longer at the top of this category. The Rays sent him down today to bring up some other prospects to bolster their rotation and help on offense. So these pitchers you see on your screen with a 1 labeled in their rank are the league leaders now. They all have 5 wins. Jake Odorizzi, Asher Wojciechowski, Kenta Maeda, Dylan Bundy, Shane Bieber, Gio Gonzalez, Lucas Giolito all have 5 wins. In the National League, Walker Buehler, the only pitcher in all of baseball for that matter, with 5 wins. Madison Bumgarner, Pablo Lopez, Jimmy Nelson, Dinelson Lamet, Trevor Bauer, Jack Flaherty, and Robbie Ray tied for second best. They all have 5 wins. Loss leaders in the American League. So you have Dylan Bundy, Asher Wojciechowski, Reynaldo Lopez, and Kenta Maeda still without a loss on the season among American League pitchers. In the National League, the list is at 2. Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, both tied for the league best with no losses. Saves leaders in the American League. Brad Hand has 18 saves. That's good for the American League best. That's also good for the lead in baseball. Liam Hendricks has 15 saves. That's good for second best. And Roberto Ozuna has 14 saves. That's good for third best. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos has 16 saves. That's good for the National League best. Josh Hader, Sean Doolittle, and Kenley Jansen tied for second best with 14. ERA leaders in the American League. Zach Plesac has an ERA now under 2. He's at a 1.82. That leads the American League. Brad Peacock second best with a 2.17. And Charlie Morton and Carlos Carrasco have the exact 2.51 ERA, and they both qualify for third best in the American League. In the National League, Walker Buehler, Mike Soroka, Caleb Smith, and Trevor Bauer all have an ERA under 2. Walker Buehler being the best of those with a 1.32. He leads the National League. Least amount of home runs allowed among American League pitchers. Gio Gonzalez and Frankie Montas still at 2. In the National League, Garrett Richards, the only pitcher left in baseball for that matter, with just 1 home run allowed, and that leads baseball and, of course, the National League. Shutouts among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka, 2 shutouts on the year, and they still lead the American League. In the National League, Zach Wheeler and Walker Buehler still top this category. They've each pitched 2 shutouts this season. Strikeout leaders in the American League. Garrett Cole, with his 7 strikeout performance against the Rays today, move him to 73. That leads the American League. Carlos Carrasco has 66, and then Charlie Morton and Lucas Giolito each have 64. They're tied for third best. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has 72 strikeouts. That leads the NL. Yu Darvish has 66. That's good for second best. And Chris Archer, third best, with 65. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka each have 2 complete games. That still leads the American League. Zach Wheeler is still at the top of the NL with 3 complete games thrown this year. Walker Buehler behind him with 2, good for second best. Innings pitched leaders in the American League. Hyunjin Ryu has 60 2/3 innings pitched. He's trailed by Garrett Cole and Shane Bieber, who have 60 1/3 innings pitched. Good for second best in the American League. Johnny Cueto back to the league lead in innings pitched. He's at 59 2/3 innings pitched. He's trailed by a full inning to Jacob deGrom, who's second best with 58 2/3 innings pitched. And then Clayton Kershaw rounds out the top 3 with 56 2/3 innings pitched. Walks allowed leaders in the American League. Carlos Carrasco and Ivan Nova top this category with just 7 walks allowed. National League sees Alex Wood at the top. He has walked 8. And the former leader of this category, Madison Bumgarner, walked 4 hitters in his start today. He's now at 11, and you see there that's tied for 4th best in the league. Whip leaders in the American League. Zach Plesac, still the only pitcher in the American League with a whip under 1. In the National League, Mike Soroka, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, and Pablo Lopez all have a whip under 1, and they make up the top 4 on this list. Pitching WAR leaders in the American League. Carlos Carrasco, 1.5. Shane Bieber also with a 1.5. And closest to them are Charlie Morton and Garrett Cole, who each have some variation of 1.4. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has passed Chris Archer for pitching WAR leaders among National League pitchers. He's at a 1.7. Archer slightly less in the 1.7. That's good for second best. Yu Darvish rounds out the top 3 with a 1.6. And batting WAR leaders in the American League, Mike Trout has taken a definitive spot in first place with a 2.9. He's trailed closely by Chris Davis, who has been close to Mike Trout so far this season. Chris Davis has a 2.8, and Alex Bregman has joined the 2.8 group. He is at a 2.8. That's good for third best. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 3.4 WAR. He was the only player in baseball for a few weeks that had a WAR over 3, but he's joined now by Christian Yelich, who's second best in the National League and has a WAR of 3. Jonathan Villar, third best in the National League with a 2.8. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Monday, May the 11th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network.